Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your Chafing Armor podcast. I am Dare, and tonight I will be your dungeon master, scratching your itch for roleplay. Tonight we have with us our players, and first off we have Michael. Michael, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael, and tonight I will be playing Willow Wand, a wood elf druid with some fake horns.
And next we have James.
Hey there, everybody. I'm James, like he said. And I'm playing Zoc, the changeling barbarian who is trying to figure out where the heck he is.
And next we have Izzy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Izzy, and tonight I will be playing Hobart Hob Silverslinger, the former merchant of all things adventuring gear.
Should provide for the party quite well. And finally, we have Riley.
Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm playing Honey Robin, your favorite plasmoid slime-like creature.
Fantastic. And so we have our new campaign, mini-campaign, I think, into the Dragon Realms. And this will be a brand new adventure. We're on episode 3. Welcome to the Kingdom. So, as you remember last time, our intrepid adventurers were kidnapped from their various locations by a cult, and were going to be sacrificed to something from outside the multiverse. And with the help of another changeling, they have rescued all those that were going to be sacrificed, including our own Honey Lemon, who was a pseudo-member of the cult and brought in by them for quite a while. You were rescued by the city guard and Elgin, who is the changeling. You were brought up to the surface. Surrounded by the city guard, you were escorted into some very nice carriages and are off on your way to somewhere. Is everybody ready? Okay. The 4 of you, along with Elgin and Draconian named Tal Ovar, who seems to be the captain of the city guard, are riding in a carriage heading towards the center of this city. As you look out the carriage windows, you see a beautiful city sprawling out around you, with canals over to the far east of you, and the section of the city you are passing through right now has a large community of gnomes and dwarves. And as you go farther into the city, the next section of the city, the next ward, tends to be more lizard folk and Yuan-ti. And then as you go even farther into the city, you look ahead, and out the window you see a magnificent palace. And all the people around you tend to be mostly draconians of various sorts as you approach this city. Tal Ovar says, "Welcome. It is time for you to come and meet the king." The king's name is Amal Marduk, and has been ruling here for 3,000 years. You are in the city of the people, also known as Karask Torpolis, the city of the people. Do any of you need anything before we go into the presence of His Majesty, other than possibly a bath?
Might I inquire, Forgive me, for first of all, introductions being in order, my name is Hob Silverslinger of Silverslinger Sundries. What continent are we in? Where, we must be quite a ways away from Kalimvor. I don't believe I've ever, in all of my various travels, never heard of, this lovely place that we now find ourselves in.
I do not know of Kalimvor myself, but I am not as well traveled as some of the others around here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
The city magistrate will probably be able to help you, and will be able to help you identify a way back to your proper lands.
While we've been rolling through town in this carriage, Zoc has his head stuck out the window like a puppy and is just taking the whole place in and seeing different kinds of people that he's never seen before, and he's just casually just like shape-changing through the different kinds of people he sees. One, he's a dwarf for a moment, then he's an elf for a moment, then he starts turning into lizard people, and once he's like seen everything he's going to see, he turns back to himself, and
Right.
he says, "Where are trees? Where are trees?"
There are trees scattered throughout the yards and the buildings. You can see over towards the canals to the east. There are, it looks like small orchards of sorts. And as you are climbing the city streets, ramping up towards the palace, looking back down to the south, you see the sprawl of the city with like a diamond checkerboard pattern of both communities and green spaces. It appears to be absolutely immense. Quite likely the largest city that you have ever seen. And from what you can see, you are on the delta of a very large river where this city has been built up around, where at the head of the delta. And this city palace is acting like a bulwark to divide the river, and the river wraps around the city, and canals, it looks like, channel through the city to provide moving water, clean water for everybody. And you go up a continuous hill up to a very large palace with large walls and gates. And as you approach the city wall, you look up in the sky, and flying out of the palace, you see a very large winged serpent, larger than 2 or 3 carriages, going off to the west, and another flying dragon that is serpentine and almost furry with somewhat canid features, and white fur flying off to the north out of the palace.
My oh my, this would be quite a, I think you would get motion sickness on such means of transportation. I think Hob is sort of looking to their other party members here.
Do you do a lot of flying there, Hob?
Well, of course, I've flown before, once or twice, the details escape me, but yes, of course.
No, I someday I hope to do a little bit of flapping myself, but I can't quite seem to get the wings right. It did not go well. Zoc, I do want to tell you something, mate. I just between you and me, I've never been to this neck of the woods before. Speaking of woods, but there are some places in this world that are, shall we say that they're not big fans of doppelgangers.
What is doppelganger?
So it's kind of like a. Well, you're not a doppelganger. Sorry, and I apologize. You're a changeling, of course. Coming from the, you come from the Feywild, do you, or is it elsewhere?
We are not in the Feywild.
Oh, blimey! I work with the critters and such, but suffice to say, you might want to pick a form and keep that when you's out and about till we find out how people are going to react to you doing the little change up, because they may not react well.
This is my form. This is form. I only take forms of things I kill.
Honey, can you help me out with this?
Oh, yes, of course. See, they may like you to be one solid looking kind of thing for a little bit while. It's kind of like when I go a little bit more goopy, people really make this like a really, really gross face. Cause they just kind of don't get it. Even though it's your form, it's how you look. They just kind of, they go, they make that face with the tongue. So just kind of hold that form right now.
While
just
you're talking,
like a
he's
test.
slowly
You're trying
turning
to
into
be
looking
a little
like you.
Oh, see? Yeah, like that. That was a good look. Now, can you change your color as well? I've been thinking about trying some green again.
Sticky. It's very sticky.
Oh, he's picking up everything in the cart there. He's
learning.
I think there was some gum on the back there. It's that's on there good.
Oh, yeah. Dog fur. Nah. No, that was just he changes back to his normal form.
As you're having this conversation, Elgin and Tal Ovar are sitting there amusedly watching the four of you. You pass through the city gates, or through the palace gates, and up on the wall to the right and to the left are a number of flying airships. They have sails. They don't have Zeppelin-like airbags. They just have sails, and they are floating there. And they are in the shapes of different aquatic animals. And your carriage pulls forward into this massive courtyard. And Elgin and Talovar invite you to step out. And as you step out down into this courtyard, manned by city guards who are mostly draconians and lizard folk, you see a great worm walking through with spectacles on its nose, talking to a draconian in robes. You see a wyvern perched up on a battlement with riding straps on it and a rider standing nearby. You see in the shadows what looks like a draconian form watching out at you with gleaming red eyes. And golden scaled draconian walks up and introduces himself and says, "Greetings, y'all. My name is Elias Heartstrings. I am the magistrate here at the palace. Welcome, and be at peace. I will allow you to come into the palace, and the king will see you in a little bit, but we would ask that you come and avail yourselves of some of our bathing community, because I understand you have been down in some of the lower sewer systems, and you would make a better impression on His Majesty if you would afford yourself those little luxuries."
Honey Robin leans over to Zoc and says, "He's calling us stinky."
Well, it covers scent. Good for hunt.
And Elias turns around and looks at you, Zoc, and says, "That is true. But today, you are neither hunting nor hunted. Please, come this way." And he leads you down into a number of apartments through a large hallway wide enough for many people to walk side by side, or for something very large to walk through. And takes you to a number of apartments. They're all adjoining, and there is several bathing areas curtained off, and it looks like there is a change of clothes that would fit each of you.
Better close this curtain. I wouldn't want any hot young babes to become distracted.
No arguments here. And I start to strip out of my leathers that are just so worn that they're almost like cloth now because they've just been bent and rebent so many times. As I step around a little partition and start to strip out to clean my somewhat gross body, especially after my time in the sewers.
And before Elias left, he said he would send food and drink and would be back for you all in about half an hour to 45 minutes to meet the king.
So there's tubs of hot water?
There are tubs of hot water, yes, and bathing pitchers and natural sponges. There are fine clothes, courtier level clothes for you all to choose from, multiple outfits in wardrobes over to the side of the room. The rooms are not large, but they're not small. They're comfortable. They have a wardrobe on the left side and a desk on the right. It looks like a hotel room where people would stay when they visit.
I will definitely sign up for my fantasy Marriott points. I will. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, Zoc just kind of walks over, doesn't undress, and just kind of falls into the tub like he's just dropping himself into the river. And just kind of like rummages around in there for a bit, kind of just shaking off some dirt.
Okay.
It was in a bathhouse that I met my blasted ex-wife. I don't like that memory.
Why you blast
You have to
ex-wife?
tell us that story sometime.
Why you blast ex-wife?
Well, she was blasting me a bit too much with her nagging, you understand.
No.
Well,
Zoc goes underwater.
You. Honey Robin just kind of collapses and slinks as a blob. You just see like this puddle of pink ooze climb up the side of the tub and plop in and under the water.
I must imagine that there is a
Bloop.
sound at one point. So I definitely Willow Wand is cleaning his slender little wood elf frame, and especially taking time to scrub his hair, which was probably the dirtiest thing. And you notice when he gets back out, he puts back on his little wooden antlers. I said horns earlier. Antlers as quickly as possible. And when getting dressed, he now looks like a little fancy lad with like a doublet, and an undershirt and all of that. And he finds that the antlers don't quite fit the floppy blue hat. So he with his little carving knife, he pokes a hole in the top and slits it through. And then kind of regards himself in the mirror.
All right, so is everybody feeling washed and cleaned?
Once Zoc is done shaking off his dirt, he gets out and tries to find something that makes sense to him as far as clothes go, and takes off what he's wearing, his furs, and tries to put some pants on, I guess.
There tend to be some leather officer pants and military pants that are more crisp and almost starched, but they're heavier material, as well as light linen and fabrics.
Oh yeah, definitely linens. Yeah, he doesn't want anything heavy. So he puts those on, tries to find some kind of white shirt and just puts it on, doesn't button it up or tie it up or whatever, and then puts his furs back on over that.
I think Hob would actually be going for the stuff that has like an officerial look to it. Some of it doesn't fit quite right. It's a bit long on them in certain. I think they are. It metaphorically and literally doesn't fit quite right.
Okay. And so after about 45 minutes, you hear a knock at the door.
Oh! I need
Hello,
to make good
everyone.
shape. I need to make good shape before we see King person. So
Good call.
He changes himself. He changes. He kind of like decides on like the best parts of what he saw traveling through town to like give kind of like an overall feel of like the populace. So he's just like fitting in with everybody. So he has like lizard legs, a dwarf torso and arms, and like an elfish looking head. I make good shape.
My mouth is just hanging open. For the first time in Willowan's life, he is speechless.
When Elias comes in and sees that, he starts to say, "Well, haven't you all cleaned up?" And then he sees Zoc and just kind of stumbles over his words for a moment.
He's still dripping also from the bath.
And so he looks at all of you and goes, "Oh, I'm glad everybody has availed themselves." And he walks over to Zoc and walks around him. And as he's walking around him, he does a little prestidigitation. And all of a sudden, Zoc is dry and a little less wet fur smelling. And then he walks over behind Hobbs and goes, "Ah, yes, the king will be appreciative of the clothes you have picked." And again does a form of prestidigitation. And Hobbs, your clothes are suddenly tailored to you.
Splendid. I'll say their name is like Hob, like short for Hobart. But yes,
Hob.
Hob looks impressed.
All right. And so he says, "Please follow me." And as you walk out into the hall, you are flanked by two very large draconian city guards, both with pikes that are about 6.5 feet tall. And they escort you down this long hallway. And so Elias, talking to you as you walk along, says, "So I am given to understand that you all are not from around here."
I have no bearing of where we are in relation to where I am from. I'm quite well known where I'm from, so it's a new experience for me.
Lots of dragons.
Ah,
I
yes.
think this is
Buddy
the
lost,
Feywild.
mate.
The Feywild. We have many visitors from the Feywild. And
Willowan perks up at that and goes, "You'll have to tell me some more soon about that."
oh yes, we as the city of peoples, as the city of Amal Marduk, we pride ourselves on welcoming so many from all over. And so you will find yourselves comfortable here, and I'm sure you will be able to find passage back to wherever you are from, and the king will be happy to make your acquaintance. And so as you are walking down this gigantic hallway towards the end where there are these massive doors, the doors start to swing open as you approach, and you walk into this massive domed throne room that is opulent with silks and chairs and tables around the edge. The ceiling is painted in scenes of adventure between dragons and people. There are clouds and all sorts of depictions from myth and legend painted all over the walls. There are statues around the edge of the room. And at the head of the room, rising up out of the floor in a single piece of granite, streaked through with what only looks like some sort of veins of glowing silver metal, rises a gigantic throne the size of a cottage. And sitting on this cottage, or this throne the size of a cottage, is a red and gold dragon, larger than any other creature you have ever seen in your life. And it stares down at you and says, "Welcome to my kingdom."
It is with most gracious honors that we are to make your acquaintance, your majesty. Hob bows deeply. Just really deep, really, like spreading their arms, etc.
Willow Wand will go down on one knee and say, "It is an honor to be in the presence of such a great one as you."
And so the king nods at the two of you.
I bow as well, just like, real big. Just she's trying to keep her mouth shut. She's trying not to yap. She's like, now's not the time. So she just bows.
Zoc will, out of respect, take his true form and match his eye color to the king's, indicating that he's directly communicating with the king. And he gives a heavy nod and says, "Hi."
The king's liquid golden eyes focus on you and goes, "Well met, travelers. It is good that you have survived, and I am thankful for your help in rescuing those who were trapped down below. I welcome you to the kingdom of the people. Do you have any questions? I am thankful for your service to this kingdom, even though you are not from here, as I take it, and I would love to award you for your service and your selflessness."
You sure we not in Feywild? Lots of dragons.
No, we have many that are from the Feywild, but this is the material realm. We came here many, many years ago. Actually, I was born here. My father was a red dragon, my mother was a gold dragon. And as I grew, my father, as is the nature of his kind, became more abusive. And so eventually I had to eat him. But then with the help of my mother, we established this city and the other dragons. After the wars, we established the 10 realms, the cities of the Decapolis. And this, I am proud to say, is the greatest city on the northern continent. Where do you all happen to be from?
I'm having I'm so mad at myself because I don't remember if I said last episode if Hob operated out of the general metropolitan area of Kalimvor or Massgate. It was definitely one of them.
He's a merchant. He probably travels.
I believe
That's
you
true,
said
that's true.
Massgate.
I'm gonna go with Massgate then. It was whichever one the final fight took place in, which I'm also beating myself up for not remembering which one that was.
That was Massgate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hail from a small burg outside of Massgate, your eminence. I am quite humbled to be in your presence. I assure you, no rewarding of our bravery is necessary, unless it is entirely out of the good of your heart. My liege.
I will rise from my knee, but still with a deferential, slight tilt of my head, and say, my liege, I am from the Moonstone Woods. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they are quite known for having various thin places where sometimes portals were open to other worlds, and it is my mission in life to see that if a creature from the Feywild, I kind of turn towards my companions, more so the animals, are able to find refuge here in our reality, and I try to provide this service to the best of my ability. And I was entirely unaware of your fabulous city until these occultists accosted.
When you look over at Zoc, you might register then that the furs that he's wearing is probably made from some of the animals that you were helping. I mean, not specifically, but types.
George! Oh my God, George! No.
That's awesome.
George tasty.
He totally recognizes that his great goal in life is to find a moonstone dragon, but he knows that will probably never happen. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Anyway.
Well, I'm Honey Robin. I was traveling around the astral plane, and it got a little bit boring. Just there's so much out there, but there's only so much you can really see and talk to. I think I've talked to everyone out there, so I decided to try something new. And so I came out here to whatever plane this is, and I kind of just started talking to the first people I met. Yeah, it turned out, anyway, yeah, that's how I'm here. Glad to be here now.
And the dragon smiles with giant, large teeth coming out, and you hear a small chuckle, and says, "We are happy to help you and award you with rewards and deference." And he taps his giant talon on the throne, and in come several servants, various species. One is an elf, and one is a lizard folk, one is a leontine, and one is a gif. And they bear bags over to you, and they hand you several bags, each of you one bag. And inside, as you look in the bags, you find about 15 platinum pieces.
Blimey. That is more money than Willowwand has seen his entire life.
And says, "Thank you for your service to the city." And then he calls to the Vizir, calls out, "Vizir, bring in the map." And the servants go and lift a very large table into the middle of the room. And into the room comes a very tall Vizir carrying what looks like a foot-tall folded stack of parchment, and comes to the table and with deft hands unfolds the parchment with a wave like he's opening a giant sheet, and it flows gently across the table as if by magic. And on this parchment is a map that designates where you are, where Karasktopolis is in relationship with the river that it's on. And then you see far, far to the east, across what's called the Dragon Spine Mountains, which then lead to the Pentaplane. You see the Pentaplane stretching out on part of the map, then leading to Massgate and Hyboria, and then Kalimvor, the Sand Swallow Sea, which is far off to the east of what is marked as the Decapolis of the Dragon Realms. And so it looks like you are probably about 6 months overland travel from the Pentaplanes.
My goodness, how in the world do you ever think... I suppose it's possible. I can't imagine... How long do you think we were out? When kidnapped by these cultists, do you think they had any kind of means of magical travel? I am quite interested in learning more about the means of the people who have accosted us.
Elias Heartstring turns towards you and says, "We did find a staff of teleportation down in the cultist lair. We quite assume that is probably how they transported so many of you so far. We think they took careful steps. Not to take anybody from the city here, as it would have attracted undue attention. We were lucky that our intelligence was so on the job and paying attention to be aware of what the cultists were up to."
Yes, I'm sure the sudden disappearance of a well-known dealer in adventurers' goods, circa a few months ago, before my entire livelihood was destroyed, probably caused some alarm in appropriate circles.
I'm sure that it did, but in this city, in this area, if a wood elf and a changeling and a gentleman of difficult circumstances, turns towards Hob, well, of course, you were already with the cult, honey, were to disappear, I certainly would make sense that why they might have chosen us for that specific reason.
The king turns, rumbles towards you and speaks down at you. "We have had warnings of cult activity. A number of years ago, a cult tried to introduce a necrotic poison into the populace. And thanks to Elias here and some of the other dragon cities, we were able to put a stop to it." And at that moment, the Vizir, his head turns at an odd angle and looks up at the king and goes, "You have not stopped us yet." And the Vizir's head kind of peels apart in 5 different directions, and a black mist spouts up. And I need everybody to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Well, I am by far the most mighty of all of you, so I should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That is 15. Oh, actually. Okay. So I got a 17 for Willow Wand.
Okay. All you have to beat is a 10.
Can I sell you on this 8?
No.
Poopy.
Zoc got an 11.
Honey got a 14.
Okay, so Hob, you some of this mist starts to settle on you, and you take 1 point of necrotic damage.
Ooh.
And
Oh goodness! I can feel the cold hand of death taking me. Oh.
the king goes, "What is this?" and roars. And as he does that, the map, which the Vizir is still holding, the Vizir and the black mist kind of convulse, and the map kind of opens, and before you see a mimic of very large size attached. The map and the Vizir's hand kind of merge together, and these tentacles come out, as well as a mouth of made out of, it looks like paper or bark. And I want everybody to roll for initiative.
Let's wait for that.
Oh, let me get my depleted uranium dice here. Go. Oh, yeah. 4. So let's see with my initiative. I am, so that's a 6 for Willowan. Coming in hot.
All right.
13 for Hob.
That would just make it worse if you started singing, I am the map!
I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map.
Awesome.
Zoc got a 17.
Honey got a 12.
And the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, got a 10. And before anybody else has a chance to strike, Zoc, you are up.
Okay. Just for my clarity, the guy and the map have merged together into one creature, yes?
They are one creature. The figure is still there. Its head is peeled apart like a banana.
Right.
The hands have melted into this thick parchment, which is taking on 3 dimensions like a pillow, and is slowly growing thicker, and it has a giant mouth opening in the middle. This map covered a table that was roughly 4 feet by 8 feet, was absolutely massive.
Okay.
And the parchment looks more like scales and scaly skin now.
Gotcha.
And is there any... You mentioned darkness earlier as it swirled out, but is there anything actually obscuring, or can we see okay?
No, it's kind of spewing this mist into the air.
Okay.
And people are running hither and fro. So, Zoc, you get to take a whack at it.
Okay. Would that be considered like lightly obscured? Is there like any minuses to attack? Or
No, there's no...
Okay.
No, there's no obscure...
All right. Yeah, he's gonna... Well, he's not gonna split his face open into 5 pieces to mimic his target, but he is gonna like take on that kind of like barky, papery kind of skin as he goes in, and will try and thwack at this thing because it is terrifying and needs to die. Oh, nice. Now that's how you start a battle. Nat 20.
Ooh.
That is how you start a battle. Okay. Okay, so that'll be 19 points of damage with his great axe.
Okay. You get that first hit, and it is a doozy. It lands hard. And that you've already doubled the damage.
Yeah, that was double. Yes.
How is it 19?
Well, I rolled an 8, and it was 16 plus 3.
Oh, okay. All right. So 19, got it. All right, and so then, Hob, you are up.
All right. Hob looks up at the king and says,
Well, I'm sure that your majesty would be able to handle this, but just out of courtesy, I will do my best to assist you in this matter.
sort of deferently, and is going to unload a cantrip of firebolt at this happy fellow. That will be and this is a ranged spell attack of 120 foot range. That is a 18.
That hits.
Don't remember if I add anything to the damage. I don't think I do.
No, it's
That's a 4.
yeah, it's just a D10.
Okay. Is it fire damage?
Yes, 4 fire damage.
Okay. It is susceptible to fire damage. And
Whoopee!
so add 1d4 to that.
That's another 4.
All right, so 8 points of damage.
Confetti. And that is Hobbs' entire turn. Actually, I think they're going to move like 5 feet back. They walk like 5 feet back after that, assuming that we're not within melee range already.
You all were in melee range.
Oh, then they don't.
Yeah, you all were gathered around in front of the throne. They brought the table and the map to you. So,
Gotcha.
all
No
right,
opportunity attacks for Hob.
Honey Robin.
She is going to run up and hit it real hard. So that is a 10 to hit.
That does not hit.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's it.
Okay.
I don't know if I have another attack. Yeah.
So you run
level
up
2.
towards it, and it just is moving in all sorts of strange ways. Kind of, it reminds you almost of the way you tend to ooze and can change your shape. And it is slowly absorbing its Vizir part and becoming more of a cube-like creature, and you see tentacles beginning to protrude out of its mouth. And so then Elias calls out and is going to do an attack and makes a hit with his weapon, which is a long sword. Gets a full 9 points of damage, and so then gets a second attack and hits, and again gets a full 9 points of damage. Oh, pretty nice. All right, and now it is Willowwan's turn.
Woo!
Oh no,
So-
it is the Mimic's turn. All right, and so he will do an area attack and casts out another necromantic cloud, and I need everybody to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Goody.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all know I'm good at those.
Oh, so I do get a 10 total.
I got a nat 1.
Ouch.
Oh,
boy.
8 plus 1.
Okay.
Zoc got a
8 plus 2.
15.
This time it's a 14. Hob is insecure that they got exactly 1 less than their party member, even though the numbers don't exist in canon.
So
We
Honey
don't have
Robin got a
cannon yet.
1. Hob got a what?
14.
14, so everybody else passed. So, Honey Robin, you take 5 points of damage, necrotic damage, and you are not feeling well. You are infected, and you feel like parts of you are dying. All right? And so we're back to Zoc. And there are people running into the room.
There's a wood elf.
Oh, Willowand. Yes, Willowand.
I was dead last, so it's okay.
Yes, you are.
How much damage has Honey taken?
Honey took 5 points of damage and will probably continue to take damage every round.
Okay. So Willowand was getting ready to do like some cool attack. Was like, oh, this is my moment, kind of thing. And then he looks over and he sees a creature of Fae in danger. And instead, he runs over to behind Honey because she's obviously in combat, and touches her on the back and calls out to the Wild Mother and cures wounds. If your Dungeon Master could find his 8-sided die. Ooh, that is a 6, so that is 9 points of healing.
Okay. You hear that?
Yay!
You are healed, but you are not cured. All right? So we are back to the top of the order. Zoc?
All right. Yeah, let's put this thing out of its misery before it gets any weirder. It's a 14 to hit.
That hits.
Oh, good. It's it's mostly paper. How hard can it be to hit?
Yeah.
That's an 8, so 11 points of damage. Slashing.
Okay. It's looking pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's torn up. It's... You all have beat up on it. Okay, and Hob?
Did you see, Your Majesty? My fire works very well.
And is going to, famous last words, fire another firebolt at this bad boy. Nat 20! I don't remember if spell attacks get the same thing as melee attacks in this circumstance.
Yes,
you
they
do
do.
double damage, yeah.
You still double your
Beautiful,
damage.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Are we, is this house, do I roll 2d10 or 1d10 times 2?
Yeah, we're on
1d10.
5. We're on 5e now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1d10 times 2.
Alrighty. 9. Well, that's wonderful news for me because that was a 9 on the die, so 18, and if you will allow me to add the d4 fire susceptibility damage.
Yep.
That would also be double.
Another 4! Thank you, dice. Rolling my dice along the keyboard of my laptop is apparently makes the rolls better. So that was...
You should double that, too, the D4.
Yeah.
Okay, then oh god, I'm so bad at mental math.
You said it was 9, so 18, 25.
18 plus... Beautiful. I think it... Is it 20... I think it might be 26. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. 26,
18 plus
right.
8. But, yeah, that... it's good practice for my bad mental math, at least.
And
That one I actually typed into a calculator.
there you go. And so when Hob hits with this flame strike spell, it just kind of envelops the entire creature in flame, and the flame gouts up into this black cloud that has been rising up out of this unusual mimic, and kind of looks like a small mushroom cloud consuming this necromantic gas up in the air. And poof, just kind of disintegrates into dust. You've done so much damage to it that the ash rains down on top of you.
Putting their face in their cloak a little bit.
This whole interaction took place in just under a minute. The city guards are rushing into the room. The king has stood up on his throne. Elias is calling for assistance, calling for the doctors, and calling for some type of elixir, as you all are just gently covered with this gray ash. And that's where we will end this session of the Dragon Realms.
If you or someone you know has been affected with fantasy mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
Contact your local ambulance chaser.
New series of ads right there.
All right. Everybody enjoy that?
Woohoo!
So fun. I had a blast.
All right.
I drew lots of scary pictures.
Would anybody be able to tell us where our audience can find us?
I sure can, Dare. All you need to do is go to patreon.com/Chafing Armor. That's where we have a wonderful site and a wonderful community with people just like you who, don't tell anyone, are very attractive. Just like you. You can join us on there, see lots of cool stuff, see cosplay, see memes, and of course see secret content that will only be available to our Patreon participants. So check us out at patreon.com/Chafing Armor.
Fantastic. Thank you all, and we will see you next time on the Chafing Armor podcast, where we scratch your itch for role-playing adventure.